was diagnosed with cancer. That was about the time I just entered my freshman year of college, my first year of college. And that's when I made the decision that, I would have to put my education on hold just to help my mom with her time of need. And we traveled to Asia to get her treatment done. And there was an experimental cancer treatment that we were really looking forward to participate in. We participated in that treatment for around 2.5 years. She felt like the time we spent together was something, and I also felt the time I spent together with her in those 2.5 years was something that was immeasurable. It was a time where I really got to know my mother, as a person, not as a teacher. And unfortunately, in 2017, she passed away. It was a time where I felt lost because she was sort of my beacon of hope and direction in life, like a mentor giving guidance. And then, came the time where I came back to the States and I wasn't sure what to do. Should I continue college, my education? Should I, go back and help with the studio? Because my mom's main position during that time was to work at the studio as a manager.
And your grandmother and your mother had started the studio, right?
Yes, my grandmother is the first generation. She migrated over, and we're an immigrant family from Taiwan, and my grandmother started the business for a dance ballroom studio because she had a passion for dancing, for singing, and that was shared among her friends as the go-to activity to do on the weekends, the weekdays. And she wanted to share this passion with the community. Why not? Why not create a space of their own to promote what they love? And so that's how the story of my grandma starting a studio got made. And when it was time for her to hand out, the executive to my mom, who managed it very well. She was a people person, so she's sort of like a social agent. The instructors we have today were loyal to us and have been here many years. We're actually recruited by her, going to different cities, Walnut, Roland Heights, probably like an hour drive to Orange County. She would make those drives with her 2 kids in tow, me and my sister. I have an older sister. And it was a special time for us because we would take these road trips. I would usually get car sick because I don't know, I would just be staring at my phone. Back then we didn't have phones. My Game Boy. My Game Boy was staring at. And so she had a tough time with us. And it was then that I really got to learn about my mom.
So when your mom passed away in 2017, between then and the 4 years between that and then the 3.5 years or whatever to what happened not far from here where we're sitting, and that was a day that really changed your life. And so I think a lot of us wonder, this shortly after that happened, you must have been in incredible PTSD and not even able to, and then you get invited by President Biden and the First Lady to the White House, to be at the State of the Union address. And we see you there and it's like incredible. I mean, it's just beautiful that you're there and we can applaud you, through our screens and our TV.
Thank you.
And so I think a lot of us just wonder, what was that like for you? I mean, now it's not even been a year, Brandon. I mean, I can't even imagine. But so it's not even been a year, and so much has happened. I mean, how many of these kind of dinners and discussions do you, or speeches, you have to give a month, a week?
So during these past several months, my life has been quite hectic, exciting but fun, and very, very eventful. Very eventful. I've been to several events, several galas, several benefits, several celebrations, and even, as you said, the State of the Union. That experience for me was quite surreal and groundbreaking, because there I was able to meet officials and our representatives that we elected to office, and they were focused on how they could help our community. You know, that sort of inspired me really to say, since I have this platform now, I have this voice, why can't I do the same thing for my community? Why can't I speak out and say, there are things I want to say that could help us as a community come together to build a foundation of trust and empathy.
Can I tell you how exceptional you are in that way? I mean, I think most people who would live through what you lived through, the 11 people who were killed here in Monterey Park, the countless other people who were injured or witnesses to violence. You were a witness to violence, and you put your own life at risk. And I think most people think, what would they do if that was their situation? They might just take a lot of time off, and spend some time in a retreat somewhere, or just collecting their thoughts. And you jumped right in and made this transition to be thinking that, how do I use this moment to do something good? And I have you thought about like where that came from for you? Because I had also read that you had been more like a computer nerd before.
Definitely.
And
I
so
think-
that might have been your thought of your path before, and it wasn't like you were gonna how are you gonna use computers for the public good or something. So come on in, please. Hi.
Yeah, so before I was actually a computer science major, thinking of going into engineering or software design. The stereotypical, hallmark of us Asians that is portrayed. But as you said, what made me change my thoughts on, trying to promote community awareness and projects like, nonprofit. And it was sort of going to these events. Half of them I would get these awards, maybe be it a trophy or recognition. And that kind of reinforced my thought process on, since I'm getting this reinforcement from the community and from the people that are representing us, I need to think of this as something that could help everybody in the long run. And with that said, these events, I actually been able to get a speech. It might not be great sometimes, but at least I'm
I've
trying to
heard
say
you.
something.
No, you're really good, Brandon. And you speak from the heart. That's what counts.
Yeah, so whenever I speak, I mention our community here and how close-knit we are, and how as a community we feel that, some things are being victimized and vulnerable. And so far, it has been well received. Usually us Asians, we kind of sweep under the rug because we don't believe people will believe what we say, basically because we have this sense of credibility in our culture. But so far for me, I feel that, we should speak out more as a, sense of cultural breaking out of our shell.
Well, I think you have a room full of people who totally agree with you and have been trying to do that themselves, and also trying to convince members of our community to do that. So I have to come back to say, here you were heading toward computer science, and now I mean, clearly a lot's changed and you have a lot of visibility, but now you're following a path that a lot of parents think like, oh, why wouldn't you go into computer science? That's like, so, you know, we know that where that goes. So how does your family, your extended family feel about this, you know, understanding that you have of your future now?
At first, when I was a computer science major, my dad was very skeptical, so was my mother. I was never good at studying math. Not very studious in high school, I gotta say. But
you were good at computer games.
yes, I was. But yeah, it was something my parents were unsure of. And I think that now that I'm switching majors to sociology, learning how people interact with each other, how they react to certain situations, it has been a reinforcement to my relatives because I think they always knew that I had this element of, you know, connecting with others and speaking to the heart. That has been quite a special, like, reassurance for them.
Well, I think that's a great example, especially for the next generation. I mean, when people hear my background of how I went to medical school and then quit medical school, usually the question is, how did my parents deal with that? And I have to say, it took my father a couple of years before he would speak to me in a decent way and stuff. And so, but he did get over it. And so it's really great to know that your folks, you know, they're like, okay, this makes sense. So I know we have a dinner and people will want to talk to you informally too. But just what are your, I guess, you know, do you have long range plans? I know your family is set up, you have set up a fund, you know, with some of the recognition that you've been getting.
Yeah, so I do have long-range plans. Right now, I'm actually going back to school, as I said, sociology. I'm studying courses just to get prerequisite classes to transfer. And hopefully I'm transferring to Stanford is my first choice. But you know, UCs aren't bad either.
Put it out there to the world. You have to put it out there.
And with that said, yeah, I've just been very studious lately. These past few weeks, I've actually just been taking courses. And as you said, I started a fund. That's with the partnership with the Asian Pacific Community Fund. And I'm actually starting to utilize it. We're thinking on several programs to be launched. And I'm actually partnered with the APCTC, which is a local nonprofit, using this fund to create senior bystander training courses that are going to be coming out in December. So it's going to be called Hero for Change, and it's aimed towards giving seniors the confidence, the guidance, and the tools they need to be safe in public, especially when they're the most vulnerable demographic. You know, we see people scamming our seniors and really victimizing them. It's not right, and it should be seniors that fight back, really. They have to know what they can do, the steps they can take to really impede these actions. And that gives them a mental fortitude to say, I'm an individual and I'm safe and I'm strong.
I think that's wonderful, and I'm sure that OCA advocates and Vincent Chin Institute really want to partner with you and get the word out, because I don't need to tell this room, we know that U.S.-China relations are not going anywhere positive. And this next election campaign season is going to be like, who can out China the most, and so it's going to be tough. And so your Heroes Fund and senior, that's really important. So thank you. And on the note of the OCA Advocates and Vincent Chin Institute, we put together a an award of the Vincent and Lily Chin Advocacy Award for you.
Wow,
This
thank
is
you.
not a regular award. It really is given to people who stand up for our communities, and you really have, and put yourself on the line. So,
I really appreciate this. It's an honor for receiving it, especially from you, Helen.
well, I can't think of anybody who deserves this more. And with that, to win, and Linda, Ing, you're coming up.
This is just a really small scholarship to support your efforts, Brandon, whether that's your pursuits in your education or your pursuit in your community efforts. This was actually a donation from Helen and the OCA family, and so can I invite Ed to come up and take a photo with us?
I have extended, a standing invitation to him. I said, should you attend UC Davis, not Stanford, you'll come over, you'll have a room in my house, I'll be cooking for you all the time.
That's free room and board.
Better than awesome. This is the next generation. So,
That just reinforces my belief that I am doing a positive thing here.
you know you are now part, or have been part of the OCA Advocates family.
Yes.
Vincent Institute family.
Yes.
And with families, sorry, you can never get away. We're so proud of you.
One more round of applause for Brandon.